Hi, my name is Stephen Bales Jr. Work here with my dad, who's retired Steve Bales Sr. And you might call me CEO.
I'm Brian Turner. I work here and run the production side of the hay.
Some of the guys were asking me about the history of our farm and the ranch. Buckeye was founded in 1888, but our family, our great-grandfather, Bob Belote, rode his horse and drove some cattle in here in 1885, 1886. Family lore has it. He came in, he was a very young man, came from back east like everybody did. This was all desert. He settled here because the Gila River is just a half a mile south of us, and it ran year-round back in those days, so he had cattle, needed water. There's a big territorial house that's like 110 years old out in front of us, where he raised his 14 children. His number 2 child, first son, was named John Belote. That was our great-grandfather. So Brian is my first cousin, not just my number 1 man on the farm here, believe me, number 1, but also my cousin. It's really not that big of a family farm operation, but we own here around 1,000 acres. It's been multi-generational build up, but we're farming over a couple of thousand acres. And we're primarily growing the alfalfa. That's our big crop. This was a cattle ranch that morphed over to an irrigated farm over the century, the 20th century. And cotton was king for both of our families through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And then the alfalfa really took off. We've always had a feedlot on this farm, so we're always growing some alfalfa to feed the cattle operation, baling it, cubing it through all those iterations, grinding it, chopping it, feeding cattle. So we always had that. And then it was my dad, Senior, who said, you know, I think there might be a retail operation. I was a young guy. This was 35 years ago. I didn't want to deal with the public, but people were like 1 or 2 would drop by a day and say, could I buy a bale? Didn't even know what to charge them. They're 120-pound bales for the feedlot. You know, we charge them $4 something, and off they go. But again, my dad said, I think you might be onto something. So we just picked up on with that, and it's just kind of, as they say, organically grown, that side of the business. So we're retailing it right here. You can bring your pickup, you can bring your car, and we'll throw a bale in there, whatever you want. And we're also wholesaling it out on the other side of the ranch here and sending hay that goes to all over the state and Texas and beyond.
So I grew up mostly on a cotton farm, like Stephen mentioned. That's what we all did back in the day. And then as cotton went out and the other side of my family sold out, so then I came to work with Stephen. He needed some help on the farm, particularly on the production, the harvest side of the alfalfa. So I came in, picked that up, and have grown. I think that's been probably close to at least 15 years ago now. And just learned that and kind of taken over the whole equipment production side of it. Stephen takes care of the irrigation, the fertilizer. We work together and just make it all work. We focus mostly on a retail market, even though we do wholesale the horse people. So it's all the small 3-wire, 3-string bales, 90 to 100 pounds. And it's just continue to grow. We're constantly changing, and that's how you guys have came into it, is what we can do to improve our production, our quality, hopefully our lifestyle, and as far as hours and schedules and all of that. So that's why Staheli West and hopefully the steamers help us to accomplish all those goals. The schedule is crazy. You're out there all night waiting for moisture to come in. Some nights you get it, some nights the wind blows all night and you don't. You end up baling stick dry hay. And so hopefully with the steamers, it'll alleviate a lot of that. We can get more consistent quality of our hay by being able to obtain all the leaf, and maybe a little more of a set schedule, not having to sit out there and waiting on the moisture when we can produce our own with the steamer. So hopefully my lifestyle and that of all our employees that work on the baling crew will be a little more easier or more consistent instead of sitting out there waiting every night. Especially May and June is our dry season coming up right now. And so with the steam, hopefully we can still make some real high quality hay through that tough part of the season. I watch the weather a lot. Spending all day. I'm the guy that watches and goes out and try to guess it as close as you can with the weather, and then you just go out there and sit and wait around a lot, checking the hay, and when the conditions are right, call the crew and they come in and away we go. And some nights you hit it just right and you're there 15 minutes and you're started, and other nights you're out there all night waiting. And some nights the bad deal is you get there and it's too late, it's already too wet, so you didn't get anything done until the next day.
We're looking for that quality in those hours, because that's going to morph into the bottom line, which is where my role over the years, as I get the older, the inside guy, and looking at the balance sheet and income statement, and I want to prove it on there. I want to see efficiencies happen in the labor area and through the management of it and the equipment. I want to see some really quantifiable, significant numbers there. From everything that we hear and talking to our friends that run the big steamer, we obviously have a high level of confidence it's going to happen.
Before we were running 4 to 5 small balers a season, and we're hoping with the steamers we can do probably 90 to 95% of our production with 2 machines and 2 drivers. So that's part of what's going to help pay for it. And then, like I said, the improved quality hopefully is part of it. I think we're not going to pay it back in one area. It's going to be a lot of small areas working together to justify the cost of switching over.
We don't have a half a dozen customers who buy all of our annual 25,000 tons of production, whatever it is. We've got hundreds because of the retail operation. And it's interesting, where you got those big wholesale customers, they complain about 1 load out of a dozen, maybe. Something not quite right, Steve. We'll make it up later. No, we got people who bought a dozen bales and complain about a flake. So, what are they going to say about steamed hay? I think Brian's going to say, do we even say we steam hay? Or should we not even say it? Or is that going to be a selling point, steamed hay? We're not sure. We're out on that, what to really do. So we're thinking about that. What it does in the quality. Does it improve? Is there any downside on the quality for what we do? Where visual is everything. Where we put up hay, say right now and in June, we might not pull it out of the barn for 8, 9, even 10 months potentially. We could get some go first hay in the middle of the barn and not come out for 8 or 9 months easily. And we know with the hay that Brian's putting up what that's going to look like. What's that steam hay going to be like? Can we overdo it? Can we burn it up? Can we tobacco it? That was one thing I was wondering how it's going to do in our storage, which is a big part of our business model.
We did demo the machine last summer, and that helped a lot. Just seeing what the hay looked like, how it worked. Some of the other concerns were the safety. I've been around boilers a little bit and the safety issues that come with that, but then after working with you guys and going to your training and hearing about all the extra safety and the low pressure that these boilers run at, even though they're on wheels, that really calmed a lot of my concerns about having employees and the ease of the employees being able to learn how to run them. It's a lot of high-tech stuff out there, but I'm confident that we've got some guys that can pick it up and be able to do a good job running this equipment. Like anything new, it takes a while to learn it, and we were starting earlier in the night, and so we learned waiting later at night when it cooled off more, even though you didn't have to wait on the moisture, just some coolness and a little bit of softness, we could make a lot nicer looking retail hay. And sometimes we weren't even running a lot of steam, but it was just enough that it maybe took it from a mid-grade hay to a high-grade hay, which helps pay for it.
Okay, I'm being asked what would be best case scenario that we could get out of our new steamer. Excellent question. Short answer, we never make a number 2 quality bale of hay again, all number 1 or premium. And secondly, it goes a long way in solving our labor issue. We're having trouble getting competent, qualified individuals to come to work.
Every night when you go out there, what can you do to put up the best quality hay? So that's probably our number 1 priority. Trying to put up the best hay, whether it's without steam, with steam, whatever, or a combination of the 2 during the night, whatever we can do to put up the highest quality hay. And number 2, just ease on the employees, needing hopefully less employees, but also just their lifestyle to simplify the schedules and just make it a lot easier, more comfortable to go out there and work every night.
I'm Stephen Bales, and you are at Bales Hay and Feed Store in Buckeye, Arizona, and this is my #1 man, Brian Turner.